Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us the truth, and salutations to sincere Akim and Aqua that may listen. May the blessing of election be over your house. My name is Brother Akwai. I'm back in here with another video. And today I'm just going to continue just a little bit more and show a little bit more imagery of our people ruling in Europe, because there is a narrative that is normally taught to us. A lot of us that are still in schools and stuff like that, a lot of us we were all in Africa. So I just want to go through that and kind of floor and see where the spirit takes me, right? So I'm just going to go through a couple images and do some revealing and show you some receipts, right? Because a lot of our people are constantly on this Africa mindset, right? And I just want us to understand. I just want you, you brothers to understand that we were not always in Africa, but a lot of us were ruling in Europe as well, right? So without further ado, so I have a couple images here. Now this is just a continuation of my last two lessons, I believe, going into some of the atrocities that happened to our people during the time of the Dark Ages, and slowly entering that period of the Renaissance period, which the word Renaissance means rebirth, right? So this is slowly that transition, right? And I just want to bring out some of the images that is not normally shown to us, right? Because if you turn on your TV and you listen to a lot of music, a lot of it is it shows our people at a very degenerate state, right? And I wanted to show you some receipts of our people being in more of a noble state, right? Because we weren't always like this, right? So, as a matter of fact, before I continue and I show you the images, I just want to get a quick scripture, right? Because we weren't always in this degenerate, low state. We were people who were up on, we had land and resources, and we had, wisdom, right? We still had, cases of people going off in the Dark Ages, but I wanted to show you some examples of people who were more in a more of a noble state, so to speak, right? So this is Jeremiah 2 verse 21. Yet I had planted thee a noble vine, holy and right seed. How then art thou turned into a degenerate plant and a strange vine unto me? Right? So, eventually, through our falling away, from as far back as 70 AD and fleeing into Africa and, being exiled and, going through the multiple different captivities, we became more and more of a degenerate, right? But, the purpose of this video is to show you more of examples of our people actually being, in that noble state, because a lot of those images are not shown to us. And a lot of the images that we normally see on TV are, a lot of so-called white people in these positions, right? We look at, like if you take, for example, the the so-called this queen that that recently passed away, when we think about these people in royalty, we think that these people were always white people, right? So-called white people. But we don't see a lot of our people being in that noble position, so to speak, right? So, um, so just a refresher, if you haven't seen the first two videos, I encourage you to check it out. But just for the just so I don't want to make this video too long because some of it is just a little bit repetitive. But here is a picture of King Charles, and he succeeded King James after King James had passed away. Right, and he briefly had met his death through his head being decapitated, right, and this led to an English Civil War, right? So just a fun fact, he was also nicknamed the Black Boy, right? I also found this other image as well. It is the name of so his name is Ernst Johann von Buren, the Duke of Courland and Semigallians, so part of modern Latvia region and region of the Russian Empire for 3 weeks in 1740. Right, so let me just read. I'm just going to go to a couple pages. Right, just to share a little bit more light, right, because we don't actually see a lot of these images. So so this is page 72 of the Negro question part 4, the missing link, and it reads the following. This is an image of the Ernst Johann von Buren region of the Russian Empire in 1740. You can see from these images the Russians are still tawny, swarthy, or black, right? So they had dark skin. We have exceeded Benjamin's Franklin's statement by 21 years, right? So what the author is also referring to was a statement that he made, and I'm briefly just going to get that as well, just to show you and bring out more receipts, so to speak, that that brings out more truth, right? Because when we think about places like Europe, for example, we think about it was always white people who were ruling, so-called white people who were ruling, but that is not the case, right? Because if that was the case, why would he say such a thing? Which I want to bring out in a second, but I'm just going to read this little passage real quick. So so further on, it reads, now, when you compare this evidence with the fact that Russia was invited to the Berlin Conference but did not colonize Africa, you can see why Russia was not allowed to be a member of the League of Nations. Could it be that the Russians were too swarthy, right? So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the League of Nations was a conglomerate of nations prior to what we have today as United Nations, right? So to get more of an understanding, let's go to the statement that Benjamin Franklin said, which is also an example of another receipt that we did have, so-called black people, Israelites, ruling in parts of Europe. So just bear with me 1 second. Okay, so this is what Benjamin Franklin wrote approximately, let's give or take, about over 200 years ago. And you could probably find this online as well about what he said. And so the title reads, America, the Land of Opportunity, author Benjamin Franklin, year 1751, subject, Why increase the sons of Africa in America? So he quotes that he directly states, why should the Palatine Moors, Germans, be suffered to swarm into Pennsylvania settlements? They will never adopt our customs anymore. They adopt our complexion, right? So why would he say this? So if you're really sitting back and you read this, right? Why would Benjamin Franklin make such a statement? And if these countries in Europe were being ruled by so-called white people, right? Because the truth is the fact that they were not ruled by so-called white people, right? Further on, all of Africa, Asia, America, except for us, are black. Russia, Italy, Spain, France, Swedes, and the Germans are black, right? So, these were all examples of different countries that were ruled by so-called black people, Israelites, right? As a matter of fact, let me get another scripture before I continue. Okay, so this is 2 Corinthians 10 verse 3, and it reads, for though we walk in the flesh, but do not war after the flesh, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but the mighty through the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of the Most High, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Right? So this is a stronghold that has been completely plaguing the minds of our people, right? Because when our people fell into places of exile in different islands in the Caribbean today and different parts of America, Chicago, Pennsylvania, that Rust Belt location, right? We had these strongholds placed on us, right? And another stronghold I just want to bring out as well before I get into more images. As a matter of fact, I think I have the image here. Hang on, let's see. 1 second. Oh, Salaki, I passed it. Okay, so this is another image. And here it reads, Judah dropping off slaves in the mouth of Mississippi. Page 69 says one ship came from Judah, dropped off approximately 464 slaves, right? And as well as you will see that the European black slaves from Britain, Ireland, France, England, and Scotland left Europe and proceeded to West Africa, where the black Jews from the kingdom of Judah was waiting, right? So here, the author is also explaining that you had two different groups of Israelites, so-called Negroes, that came from different parts of the world and became mishmash together, right? And where we have this imagination that this idea that we all came from Africa, it was not even true. So the devil it's interesting that the devil will teach you a partial truth, but they will never teach you a full truth. Like it says in Genesis, you shall surely not die, right? So further on, so this is another imagination that has been cast over our people, right? Okay, so back to the images. As a matter of fact, before I continue, you can Google this image online. If you type in type in 1747 map of Africa, and you will get a more large, clearer image of what Africa looked like. And if you look closely on the coast of West Africa, you will see the Kingdom of Judah, or it might be spelled Wida, which is, I believe it's WHYDA or WHIDAH, I believe, right? But yeah, you can Google that as well to get more of a visual for yourself and for your for your knowledge as well, right? Because and that's all written in prophecy, because it was prophesied that we would go into slavery on ships. So this is Deuteronomy 28 verse 68. And the Lord Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Right? So we went into a spiritual Egypt, which is America, where we are today. So bear with me 1 second. Okay, so here's another image of of a tapestry. So this is a German tapestry in the year 1400, right? So let me just zoom in. Right. Here's another image. Okay, so here, if you look closely, you can see the people in the castle have dark skin, so-called black, right? And they're in the castle. They're well dressed, they have their, royal attire, and they have weapons. And if you look here on the far left side, you will see, so-called white people, Edomites. And if you look it's very interesting as well. If you look real closely below, you will notice that these people are barefooted, right? These people are very unclean. Right? So here's just an excerpt. So this is page 62. So this is a German tapestry depicting black soldiers defending a black king and queen in the windows from attacking white men. So if these people were actually ruling in these times, as far back as 1400, why would they depict so-called black people inside the castle, right? So these are the questions you have to ask, right? Further on, it reads, from attacking white men, called by whites, wild men, and Moors, right? Let's see. As you can see, the black German soldiers are protecting the black German king, queen, and prince who are looking out of the castle. So let's zoom in right here. Right, so you can see the soldiers here, right? So these black Germans had bows and iron tipped arrows, while the whites had sticks and stones. The black Germans had on shoes, while the whites were barefooted. And continue on, it reads, the tapestry shows that the whites lived in tree houses and in caves. They were basically poor, while the technology of the wealth was in the hands of the blacks. If I focused on race, I would have missed the true treasure that this tapestry had possessed. Right? So, this is our people being shown in a royal, state, and this is how we used to be during the times of the Dark Ages and so on. Right? So we weren't as these degenerates like you see on TV, with the gold teeth and the swinging gold chains and behaving like we're a pit bull without a leash. Right? All of these, the way we are today in this degenerate state it's a result of multiple, different captivities and losing of our heritage. But, it's also, following the ways of the heathen, right? Because the Most High made us upright. He made us separate. Let's see. 7 and 6. Okay, so this is Deuteronomy 7 verse 6. For thou art an holy people, meaning separate, unto the Lord thy God, thy power. The Lord Yahweh, thy power, hath made thee to be a special people above unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Right? So we are a special people and we're above these people, right? Just like, that is the way that, we conducted ourselves, even showing from this tapestry, right? So, I believe that might be the last image. No. These other images, you can see them from my last few videos. Right, so I'm just gonna end off with oh, I didn't get to these. Okay. So basic scripture. This is Job 9 and 24. So the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, and he covereth the judges of the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Right? So this is a result that after the Middle Ages began to crumble and fall, eventually the so-called white people, they began to deface the images, and one of the greatest images they defaced was the image of Yahweh Shai and the angels and our history, right? Because people constantly and still believe that that the Most High Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai are so-called white people, Edomites, right? But anyways, I just wanted to share a little light on that, to bring out the truth, right? Because, this truth is very, very empowering. Once you know this history, you realize that you come from a royal people. Slovakia. 6 and 27, I believe. Okay, so this is 2nd Ezra 6 and verse 27. For evil shall be put out and deceit shall be quenched. So right now, this is an example of what I'm trying to show you, that I'm quenching this deceit, because these are lies which should be unraveled, right? And as for faith, it shall flourish. corruption shall be overcome, and the truth which hath so long without fruit shall be declared, right? So, anyways, I just want to end it off there. I didn't really plan to go into too much, but hopefully this was like a confidence booster as well, because constantly a lot of our people believe that they're not capable of a lot of great things, and which we are, right? But that starts with getting this wisdom and knowledge and understanding, right? Like it says in Proverbs, that wisdom is the principal thing, right? So hopefully this was also empowering as well as it was edifying. And I just like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us his truth. Until next time, I say Shalom.